From the streets to city halls and even social media, a new generation of young civil rights activists are empowering the Black community, and Virginia native Tylik McMillan is among them. He was recently named National Director of the Youth and College Division of the NAACP. News 4's Molette working for you in the community with his story and his mission to make civic engagement the new norm.
Listen, you are from Lawrenceville,
That's
Virginia.
It. Little country town, Lawrenceville, Virginia.
Listen, I mean, you've made an impact. What motivated you to get into this mission of life for you?
Yeah, I definitely believe it's a calling from God. It was me sitting in my great-grandmother's living room and watching her watch C-SPAN all day. But it was also the folks that invested in me that pushed me forward to be out in these spaces. So I definitely give it to my village.
The organization, in terms of the college division, being in its 90th year, right?
That's right. We're celebrating 90 years. Not only are we looking back at where we've come from, but like I said, we're walking into this new generation of what activism looks like in 2026.
And when we're talking about youth empowerment here, Black youth empowerment, and getting the young people involved in voting, civic engagement, how are you motivating young people? What's the temperature of the generation?
Never comfortable. You know, I think I always say young folks always push the envelope. And I think every generation of young folks, whether it's from the city movement from my alma mater, North Carolina A&T, to when we talk about fighting against apartheid, or whether it was the Dreamers fighting for DACA, young folks have always met the moment. And I think, you know, we're looking at this moment, it looks a bit different, whether we're fighting for just our right to vote, or we're fighting for reproductive freedom, or our lived experience of feeling safe in our communities. I think every generation goes through their own fight, and I think this generation is meeting the moment. We always say the NAACP Youth and College Division, it is the home base for training and organizing young activists and advocates. And so that is our job, to train them, to give them the tools to go out into their communities, to do the work. Oftentimes young people feel as though they are not qualified to be in these spaces, but I'm here to tell them that every room they walk in, they deserve to walk in, as my grandmother would tell me, with your head held high and your shoulders lifted up, because you deserve to be at that table. And so that is my job, and my hope in this role is to inspire a new generation of young leaders to walk in rooms and feel overqualified to not only sit at the table, but to make their own table.
What does this generation care most about in terms of fighting? What are the issues that younger folks who are engaged talking about?
They care about what's happening in the world. They care about what's happening in the climate with climate. They care about, you know, feeling safe in our communities, what policing looks like, what immigration reform looks like. We're currently in a state where ICE is attacking our communities, and so how do we feel safe? How do we how do we protect our communities, but also how do we invest in our communities?
We recently lost the Reverend Jesse Jackson. There are other giants from Bernard Lafayette, Claudette Colvin. Of the movement that I watched my mother participate in. What does this generation need? You
know, my mentor, Reverend Sharpton, mentioned to me growing up.
Reverend Al Sharpton.
I started working for him at 13 years old and got into this movement, and I'm grateful and blessed to be where I am today with the NAACP. But he often said it's not about a generation that knows it all or a generation that has all the energy, but it's our synergy together. And I believe in this moment, it's not about a central leader in this moment, but it's about how we all come together to push the cause forward. I always say, you know, everybody can't bring the potato salad to the cookout.
Everybody cannot do the potato salad.
Who can bring what?
Yes.
And I think that is important. Young folks must tap into what their thing is, whether that's organizing the streets, whether that's you're a great speaker or you're a great fundraiser, or you simply can just kick it and be relatable with your friends out in public. You have to find what that niche is, and I think we all can be leaders in this moment.